Welcome.
Welcome to
Cigar.
Cigar
Public.
And welcome to Cigar Public.
Hi, Terence Reilly from Aganorsa Leaf. Welcome to Cigar Public.
Terence, thanks so much for coming by. A pleasure to talk to you, sir. How's the PCA going for you
I'm
this
just
year?
running around like a maniac.
Yeah.
It's great. It's been very busy, and we're very blessed.
Yeah. So let's go back. Your early days in cigars, getting brands, projects off the ground. Talk about the challenges you faced and had to overcome to make those projects a reality in the market.
So I was very lucky in the beginning when I started out in the industry. My uncle is Manuel Quesada, and I worked with him for many years at Quesada Cigars. And I came out with something called the Oktoberfest. That was the first project I came out with. And that was in 2011, so it's a few years old now.
Yeah.
But my uncle was kind of like, people don't drink beer with cigars, and one of the sizes was a 6x65, which at the time now we're making.
Massive.
Yeah, back then it was it was a really big cigar, and he just was like, nobody's gonna buy this. But he gave me enough rope to hang myself with, and he let me do it, and he let me come out with it, and so I was very blessed that I had people around me that didn't necessarily understand what the heck I was doing,
Right.
but gave me enough rope to hang myself with.
And where was Oktoberfest created?
So Dominican, the brand?
Yeah.
So Quesada Oktoberfest was made in Dominican Republic. It was originally two sizes, and again, it's been around for years. They're still doing it. It's my legacy over there.
Yeah.
And it was a 100% Dominican blend at the time, which was rare. Usually the wrappers, was rare to have a Dominican wrapper. And the idea was to pair with Marzen style Oktoberfest beer, and it would come out in the fall. We would do a release every year and do events throughout the country, go around, have some German Marzens, have some bratwurst and whatnot, and just have a good time. So it really worked out well. It was a great introduction.
Fast forward to your work now with Aganorsa Leaf. I have a great affinity for the company. I love the fact that they're vertically integrated, which is such a key component to whether or not the quality is going to be good or great.
Sure.
And let's talk about the way you, in Aganorsa Leaf, go about the creation of a new blend, a new project. Do you typically find that the blend comes first and then you basically tell a story or a theme around it? Or is it the other way around where you have an idea for a story you want to tell or a theme you would want to showcase and then you find a blend that matches that?
Yeah, so again, I think it's kind of a combination. You kind of look at the portfolio and you see what segments of the market are out there that we're not hitting. And then, how do you address it? What is that segment of the market looking for, and how do you convey that you have what they're looking for to that segment of the market? And so that's always the trick. So there's different ways of that. So let's just say, for instance, like we don't have a mild cigar, right? So we're like, we need to address this segment of the market: a newer smoker, person that smokes occasionally, a person that just likes a mild cigar, and like something light. Okay, so how do we create something that they like? So one is the blend. Obviously, you got to have a blend. If it's mild, if it's full bodied, it's not going to work. Obviously, a lot of times you can't go Maduro, not because the Maduro can't be mild, but because the Maduro itself will convey strength to the average consumer. You got to look at that. And then you got to find a way that you can talk to the consumer so they recognize it on the shelf. Why should they smoke that over all the other mild things that are out there? Right. And so those are all the factors that we kind of look at when the blend. Is it the right blend for the project, and is the project conveying what its significance to the consumer?
Right. So what do you think? I mean, I talked about vertical integration, but anything else in your mind that you think makes Aganorsa Leaf stand out in a very competitive and fairly crowded industry?
Yeah, so I would say, so we're vertically integrated, but we're kind of more like a Scotch bar, right? Okay. So Aganorsa has a signature flavor, and that flavor is evident in basically everything we do. So if you go to a Scotch bar, there's all different types of Scotch. There's peated Scotch, non-peated Scotch, and then there's heavily peated Scotch, and there's sherry cask, and there's 100 different types of Scotches. But if I say, hey, I've got a Scotch for you, you know what you're getting into.
Right.
You may like it more or less than other Scotches, but you're always going to enjoy it. Or you're gonna at least enjoy it on a fundamental level because you like Scotch, right?
Right.
And so that's Agnorsa's strength. Now, the disadvantage of that is we don't necessarily have a cigar for everybody. If you go in this Scotch bar and you don't like Scotch, you got a problem.
Right.
But if a traditional bar, just because you like gin doesn't mean you like vodka. Doesn't mean vodka doesn't mean you like rum. Just because you like rum doesn't mean you like whatever else. And so Aganorsa not only is vertically integrated, but they have a signature flavor that's present and everything. So you have that confidence that if you know we've made it, you know what you're getting into.
There's an element of continuity
Yeah.
throughout your portfolio.
And we've had people from say, oh, I've heard this. We make a Black Star lines. Oh, I heard Aganorsa makes it, so I'm trying it because there's that confidence that I know what I'm getting into.
Excellent.
And so that's it. For me, I feel there's disadvantages and advantages to everything, but the advantage of that is that people can come to us without. There's always that question: am I going to like this?
Right.
And because we have that signature flavor, they know. Well, I know what I'm getting into.
Yeah. So let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about cigar media and how you occupy yourself. Do you consume any cigar media, and is there anything in cigar media you would like to see improved or changed, built upon that would make it better?
So I think cigar media. I think some people you're seeing more people do the type of content that I feel more people want to see. I think the problem is a lot of people focus so much on the cigar and the tasting notes and everything like that, and there's so much of that that it's hard to stand out that way. So I'm usually looking at something that's more honestly entertaining. Other than I might be generally interested in the score and I might flick through that, but like when they do a video that's somehow funny or something like that, or has or does more exploratory stuff, or does Brian has done a whole bunch of stuff videos that are really interesting, and you can see the difference. I mean, there's really big companies that don't have the views, that have a whole team of people.
Sure.
And he's growing obviously, but even in the early stages was putting out content that people related to and wanted to watch. And I think that's the number one thing, is putting out stuff that will keep a person viewing for more than a few seconds. So they want to see the whole thing. They want to see how the video ends. They want to see what happens, and or an article. How does it end? And I think that is really important moving forward for everyone to think about when they start a blog or they start a YouTube channel or whatever it is about cigars. You really got to think, about the end consumer enjoying it.
Yes. So, and I think it helps that the content that he was producing, while it was entertaining, was also very, very informational. It gave a lot of information that most people probably didn't understand yet.
Yeah.
And so let's take a look at cigar culture. Where do you see that cigar culture could improve? Where do you see that cigar culture should be aiming for as far as goals? And what would you like to see cigar culture achieve?
So I think I try to be. I'm more of an observant of that kind of thing, because I don't get to dictate the realities of the market, nor do I control them. So I kind of am more observational in that sense, and I see where the trends are going and the patterns and things like that, and then I kind of react to them. But I do like certain aspects about things. I like the camaraderie of cigars. I think that should always be embraced. I like the fact that people that are not, 75 years, I say younger people, you have to be careful about that, but like we're younger people that are like 30, are getting into cigars and getting into them in a different way than necessarily people in the past. So they're interacting through Zoom meetings and things like that. So I think it's good to keep people engaged, and anything that does that in a non-hostile way, I think is good. So I hope we keep moving in a direction of joy and brotherhood of cigars.
Excellent. Terence, thank you so much for coming by our booth.
My pleasure.
Appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your show, my guy.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Be good.